Has to be lucky. The opposition all fell over and we were quicker. I think it was a good track, a good day. The only thing that happened, we hit a seagull, I think. We ran out of brakes. But it seems a long time ago. It's probably the last amateur 500, I suppose. It's the way I'd look back on it now.
The event stayed with Phillip Island and the Light Car Club for a further 2 years, but moved to Bathurst and the Australian Racing Drivers Club in '63. The track at Phillip Island had deteriorated badly. The Mount Panorama circuit was not as old, but still had plenty of motor racing history attached. This race was held in 1938, with the track obviously unsealed. Average speed, 66 miles per hour. For the Armstrong 500 of 1963, there were 56 cars on the grid. There were 16 different makes, all either made or assembled in Australia. The race was run in classes, and there were great scraps in all of them. Harry Firth and Bob Jane took outright honours, though, with a Cortina GT. In '64, Jane did it again with a Cortina, but with George Reynolds as his co-driver. Small cars continued to dominate the race. The Japanese Toyotas arrived in 1965, a year of upsets, but also a year in which the Cortina GT 500 was built specifically for the race. It was run with Barry Seaton and Midge Bosworth sharing the drive. The Minis hit town in '66, and Rano Aaltonen of Finland became the first overseas driver to win the 500. Minis, in fact, filled the top 9 placings. Fully imported cars made their debut in 1967. It wasn't a happy race for the Alfa Romeos, nor was it for the until now dominant small cars. The big Falcons grabbed the limelight, and Harry Firth with Fred Gibson took the honours from the Gagan brothers after a controversial lap recount. The race became the Hardy-Ferrado in 1968, and the Holden-Ford battle was on in earnest. The General's Monaro won the day through Bruce McPhee. 1969, and the Falcon GTHO became the most powerful car ever made in Australia. There was a giant tangle at the top of the mountain on the first lap. Colin Bond and Tony Roberts emerged from the chaos to win in a Monaro. Alan Moffat's partnership with Ford proved successful in '70 and '71. The GTHO took the checkered flag both years. It's a tribute to the way the race is run that no driver has ever been killed. That doesn't mean there hasn't been the odd spectacular prank.
I can remember hitting the fence, and from the film afterwards, I went over the fence backwards, I presume doing about 70 miles an hour. It all went quiet, and I think I counted to about 5 seconds, and the scenery was going blue, green, blue, green, blue, green. I hit, and I thought, my God, what's going to happen? How far is it down this mountain? Because I'd never looked over the edge of that particular part of the track before.
The rain came in '72, and so did the first win for Peter Brock. Holden and Falcon continued their battle through the early '70s. A Moffat Ford won in '73. Goss and Bartlett took it in '74, again in a Ford, but with 6 Tiranas hot on their tail. Brock and the General again in '75, and then the incredibly emotional victory for Bob Morris in '76. With heart in mouth and fingers crossed, he watched co-driver John Fitzpatrick nurse home their dying Tirana to the checkered flag. Ford bounced back in '77 with their rather imposing 1-2 finish for Moffat and Bond. Peter Brock, Jim Richards and Holden then combined for 3 consecutive wins to take the race into the '80s. This accident atop the mountain in '81 forced a premature end to the race. Nevertheless, Dick Johnson was a popular winner. Since then, we've seen 3 more Brock victories, making it a staggering 8 in all for him. He has a good chance again on Sunday, although for a change, he won't be favourite. And he, like his rivals, will be hoping to avoid hysterical dramas like these.
Hands, knees and bumps a daisy, I like a bustle that bends. Hands, knees and the bumps a daisy, what is a bump between friends?
Well, Mike Raymond, I suppose it really wasn't so funny when you spent all year preparing.